Hey guys, it's Desi, and I quickly want to go over how I trade smart money concepts and try to break it down as simple as I can for you guys. And let's get right into it. So this is actually a trade that I took today, and I'll talk about my criterias for these type of trades. So on the hourly time frame, we were already bearish, right? I had a bearish bias going in. I was looking for sell side targets to get hit, and to kind of figure out where your sell sides are, you look at the higher time frames, and it'll give you a good idea. So February 24th on Friday, we had this low here that we needed to get taken out on ES. So it was about 39.47, 39.46 is what I was looking at to get purged into more downside. And it's important to see the action that happened before it and below it to see if there's any fair value gaps or whatever it may be. And in this case, we actually did have a fair value gap down here all the way from Friday, January 20th. So we had a 1 hour fair value gap here, and I was looking at price to get purged here, bounce off this fair value gap, and go back to the upside and target some buy side liquidity. So let's break it down into a smaller time frame. So let's use the 1 minute because I took this trade on the 1 minute chart. I told everyone I had orders within this fair value gap. I was aiming for the middle to the bottom of this fair value gap. So I had orders from 39.40 to 39.43. I got filled partially, and I had my stops under the fair value gap themselves. So under 39.39, 39.38 would be my stop loss on these trades. So I did get a 39. I basically got low a day fill at 39.43, and I was waiting for some structure to be broken. So we had sell side liquidity get hit, right? We had the sell side liquidity. That's one check out of my box. So I'm always looking for any side to get taken, whether it's buy side or sell side. In this case, it was with my bias as well because I did expect price to push down before reversing back up. And this is one of the areas I was looking at for sell side. We had a break of structure here at 39.49. As you guys can see, let me make this a little bit bigger so this line's looking confusing. So we had a break of structure here, and this was looking very good for me. So if you guys don't like trading when it's catching a knife technically on a fair value gap trade or whatever it may be, you could wait for a break of structure and enter right off the structure break, or wait for a fair value gap to form an order block within that within the structure break itself. In this case, this run was very energetic, and we did get really a lot of retests for this, to get back in. So in this case, having orders in the fair value gap was very beneficial, and I actually caught most of this trade on partials for about 15 to 18 points on ES, which is like a really, really nice trade, about almost $2 on SPY. And basically, my first target was this buy side liquidity here that we formed earlier in the day at 39.72. And then my overall buy side liquidity was at 39.76, which was the high of the day today before we had the sell off. So I didn't hold all the way up to 72. I took it for about 15, 16 points. So just a little shy of that. However, it's still a really good trade. And now I want to kind of talk about what I would do if I wasn't comfortable taking this because there was no retest. I'll show you guys my bias on what it remained and why it remained. So even when we got really high, right, we took out this buy side liquidity here. However, the main target for me was this 39.76 area. And now I'm gonna go on to the 5 minute because I took the next trade on the 5 minute chart. So I noticed that this buy side got purged. However, we didn't completely purge the buy side we needed to at 39.76. So I was looking at longs once again if we came back into this area, and now you guys can see we formed an order block off the previous low. So order block is a down candle before displacement. So in this case, we had this down candle, and then we had this displacement on this candle here at 820. Let me make this a different color so it looks a little bit more visible. You guys can see. So we have an hourly fair value gap here. We purged the hourly sell side liquidity, and we have an order block, and we're looking to take out this buy side liquidity here still. So that's three pieces of confluence using smart money that is very this gives me a very bullish bias going into the power hour and the last hour of the day. And I had orders set from the top of this candle to the bottom. So it was from all the way down to 39.43 once again, and 39.47. I try to go for a 39.45 average, which means, you know, I put 2 orders at 39.47, 2 orders at 39.43. Best case scenario, they all get filled in reverse. However, we didn't fully get filled on all of them. We did get filled on 39.47s on ES, and we had the stop loss right under low a day. So very good risk to reward on this trade, and, you know, a lot of confluence, you know, to take into consideration. So we had this area obviously that we all know about, right? But if you go on the smaller time frame, we actually had equal highs that I was targeting towards the end of the day, and I'll show you guys right now. So right here, we had another piece of buy side, or another area of buy side liquidity that I was targeting, and it was this equal highs here before another drop down into this order block, which was at 39.59. So I had something like this. I'll just, like, you know, buy side liquidity here, and I wanted this to get purged towards the end of the day. This was my area to take profits, because I didn't want to swing this trade, but I was in longs and looking to take this. I did take this long here, and this was basically my final take profit and my only take profit on this trade. So it's either me getting stopped out or taking it here, because there was some buy side liquidity here. We had equal highs, and we purged it towards the end of the day, and we came down, and now we're just kind of floating in between it. That is literally that's literally it. That's how I trade. That's how I trade smart money concepts. I look for sweeps, either buy side or sell side liquidity. I look for any fair value gaps or order blocks to fill, so I create, excuse me, so I could get my entries from there. And I mark, and my take profits are the other, you know. So if I'm taking, you know, I took the sell side here, I took the order block trade here, right here, and basically my targets are buy side liquidities on both areas here. So here, and then this third one right here. So with smart money, is very, like, clean to know where your price target is going to be, and, you know, it kind of, you can predict where the market's going to go in many ways, where, like, you have your buy side, your sell side marked out, such like this. I was calling out 39.47 pretty much all day, and even last night, because we were hourly, you know, we were bearish on the hourly. And then you guys can see the hourly here. We came down, we swept this, entered this hourly fair value gap. We broke structure on the 1 minute chart. I know a lot of traders who trade smart money, they just take the break of structure right away and have to stop low a day, which also works. We broke out this area here at 39.49, which would be the break of structure, and then we just rode it all the way back up to the areas of buy side liquidity that I marked out. And we didn't, so one thing that people were confused about is why some fair value gaps didn't work, as this one right here, and I'll explain why this didn't work. So a lot of people thought, you know, okay, the bottom's in and we're going to go up, and this is a fair value gap, we're going to target 76 or whatever it may be. However, this fair value gap right here, would it be invalid? As you guys can see, we did get knifed through. This would be invalid because there's still sell side to take care of on the hourly. The hourly was bearish and the market was pushing for downside. So the fair value gap, you know, didn't work because that is invalid due to the reason we still have some sell side liquidity here to get purged. So that's why some fair value gaps like that don't work. Make sure you're looking at your higher time frames and make sure we're not in an area where liquidity is sitting right underneath it, because in most cases, as you guys can see here, we will break through easily and come and sweep that, and then, you know, reverse in the opposite direction. So I hope this wasn't confusing. I really hope this helped. You know, basically my strategy is wait for this buy side or sell side to get taken out, and then enter off a fair value gap or break a structure, and target the opposite liquidity for my take profit levels, you know, to either CP1, 2, or 3. Or you can, you know, always be safe, you know, take 4 or 5 points, leave rest of your stops at break even. I do that sometimes on my funded accounts, and it's very easy to manage risk that way. So yeah, I hope this helps, and until next time, I'll catch you guys.